Hello, my loves, and welcome to Create Your Life. My name is Simone Leah, and I am your host. And I am so excited to be here with you guys today because today we're talking about the really important topic of moving through the fear of what you want to create. So, it can sometimes feel really easy to do things that you're not emotionally attached to do things that feel like it doesn't matter if they fail or if they don't work. And so you might create this business and there might be something you really want to do, but you do other things that aren't going to affect you or scare you so much. So for example, you might really want to start a podcast, but you're afraid, like you're scared of being seen, you're scared of putting yourself out there, you're scared of it not working, whatever it is for you. But there's some fear there that even though you really want to do this thing or create this thing, you're holding yourself back from doing it, and you're doing the tasks that are different, that are not necessarily exactly what you want to do, but they feel safer. So you might want to start a podcast, but instead you're putting your time into growing a Facebook group, and the Facebook group might feel easier to you because it's not something that's lighting up your soul and scaring you if you fail. Like, it's not something that you're worried about if it doesn't work. And while that can be great because there's no energetic attachment to it, so it might actually work very successfully for you, it would also be really great to be able to do that thing that is lighting up your soul, that you do want to do and that you do want to be a vibrational match for. So how do we move through this fear? How do we create something that we really want to create despite what's coming up for us in the moments and despite what we have going on inside that's holding us back? So fear is an interesting thing. In the olden days, fear was part of our systems to actually keep us safe. It was to make us run faster when we're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. It was a physical representation to actually keep us safe. Now, however, we can get afraid of things that aren't really going to hurt us. So it's actually making that decision and that discernment in yourself as to whether the fear is going to control you or whether you're going to move through it. And in business, that can look like having a business that you like and having a business that you truly love and that truly aligns with you. And even if you're truly aligned with your vision, there may still be fear around certain parts of it. So in the example of starting a podcast or a YouTube channel, you might be truly aligned to that vision of having a big social presence. You might be aligned with having that audience, but you might still feel fear in the actual act of creating the podcast or filming the YouTube videos or whatever it is. So moving through this fear now is less about your personal safety and more about getting control of your own mindset and your own mind and your own being and your own emotions and your own beliefs and your own blockages and your own little bits of resistance, really. So how do we move through this? Like, obviously we don't want to be afraid of what we're doing. Obviously we want to move through our fear and create that business that we want to create that product that we want to create, even if it feels a little bit scary, even if we're afraid of being seen, even if we're afraid that it's not going to work and then we're going to feel like a failure. There are so many things that can come up for us, but we need to learn how to move through that. So how do we move through it? That is the question. So there are a lot of ways to move through fear, but I'm going to just talk about 3 of them today. One of them is identifying your beliefs and doing journaling and things like that to really change your perspective on those beliefs. The next way that we can move through fear is by doing somatic practices and things like EFT and that sort of thing. So I'm going to talk to you about EFT and doing that as well. And the third way is kind of more about aligning with the vision of who you want to be when you're doing whatever it is you want to do and whatever it is you want to achieve, and stepping into that and working from that place. So these are 3 fabulous things and fabulous tools that can really help you move forward. And they all have the different pros and cons, and you can use each of them in different ways on different days, depending on where you're at and what's coming up for you. So the first thing is just having a look at your beliefs. What is it that you're afraid of? Let's go back to the podcast. What is it that you're afraid of with starting a podcast? Are you afraid of people not liking you? Are you afraid of not being an authority? Or are you afraid you don't know enough? Are you afraid that I don't know, whatever it is for you, but what is it that you're afraid of? Are you afraid that when you become successful, you will change? Are you afraid you'll lose friends? Like, even look at what you're afraid of when you get to that thing and start to think about that and journal it out. Like, really sit with yourself and be like, okay, I really want to start a podcast, but I'm afraid. What is it that I'm afraid of? Why am I afraid of this? How can not doing this thing affect me, and how can doing this thing affect me, and what's it going to feel like when I am doing it, and what's it going to feel like when I'm successful at it, and what's it going to opportunity wise give me access to when I do it? Is it going to when I do this thing, is it going to reach to my values and support my current values in my life and in my business? Is it going to help me to grow and expand, and start to look at those beliefs? And if those beliefs are just keeping you small and they don't actually give you anything or move you forward in any way, then we need to let go of those beliefs and swap them out for more empowering beliefs. So if your belief is something along the lines of, I don't want to release a podcast because people could judge me and I could get hurt. So say that's your belief. How is that affecting you right now? Journal it out. That belief is holding you back. It's stopping you from doing something you want to do. It's stopping you from expressing yourself. It's stopping you from helping all of the people who could benefit from your podcast and from what you put out there. And understand that even though you have that belief, if you can shift that belief, it's going to help you to create that podcast. But let's look at the positives. If you start that podcast, you're going to be changing lives. You're going to be doing what your soul wants to do. You're going to be growing and expanding. And it doesn't matter if you have 5 people listening to your podcast or 150,000 or 1 million. People are going to judge you, and not everyone is going to agree with you anyway. So why not do the thing that's going to light up your soul and bring you joy? Why not do that thing anyway? Because people are going to judge no matter what you do, but you may as well be happy. You may as well be lighting your own soul up. You may as well be really leaning into the things that you want to do, even if they're a little bit scary, because whatever it is that that belief is for you, it's only holding you back. It's only holding you back. It's not holding anyone else back. It's not holding the people that are judging you back. They don't mind, like, they don't care if you get there or not. They don't care really if you, like, they care if you live a happy life, but they're not going to be sitting there and thinking about the fact that you didn't do X, Y, and Z when they're 80. That's something that you're going to be holding. You're going to be thinking about, why didn't I do X, Y, and Z? I'm 80 now and I wish I had done that. So you need to start to shift your perspectives on some of the beliefs you're holding if they are holding you back. And journaling is such a great way to do this. This is why I say do it in a journal, because you can write it out and you can read it back and you can see things that maybe you weren't aware of when you just think about the story and you run the story in your head. Whereas when you write it out, you can read it back and say, oh, is this really what I believe? Is this really what I think? Are these really my beliefs? How is this serving me? And you can even, there's one thing I love doing, is even just asking myself, am I ready to let go of this belief now? And if not, you can ask, what do I need to do to let go of this belief? And you might feel intuitively the answer come in of, you need to make yourself feel safe doing this, or you need to take this action, and then you'll be able to let go of the belief. Asking yourself, am I able to let go of this belief now, gives you permission to let that belief go. It gives you permission to move forward. And so journaling is such a powerful practice for helping you to identify what is holding you back and what you're afraid of in what it is that you want to create. So the next thing I want to talk about is emotional freedom technique, which is a tapping modality where you tap on the meridians of the body while repeating certain statements. And what this does is it helps to clear any of the energetic blocks in your energy field. Which is great because it helps you move that energy through physically, emotionally, and energetically all at the same time, which is so beautiful for moving through things that could be holding you back. So, for example, if there's something you want to do and something that you want to create, but you can feel some fear coming up around that, you can tap around that thing. So, EFT, it involves tapping on the side of the hand, release, saying a statement, and then you tap on the eyes, the side of the eyes, under the eyes, under the nose, under the mouth, on the clavicles, under the arm. So it's kind of like just there, and on top of the head. And so you say a statement that it might be, even though I'm afraid of putting out this podcast, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And when you do that, you're giving your body the self acceptance for what's coming up for you. You're acknowledging where you're at, but you're also helping to release that trapped energy and those stuck emotions so that they're not going to bother you anymore, or they might bother you, but to a lesser degree. So if you want to use something like EFT, it's really great because you can rate whatever it is out of 10 beforehand, do a round of EFT, and then re-rate it. And it might have gone from a 10 to a 3, and then you can do another round if you want to get it down to 0, change the statement a little bit, whatever it is you need to do. But by doing this process, it helps you to really get okay in your nervous system for what it is that you want to create. So if you're wanting to do something and you're afraid of it, it helps you to move through that emotion of fear so that you can move forward. It helps you to release those blockages so that you can move forward with whatever it is you want to do. Because if there's something that's lighting you up and you're holding yourself back, until you can make that safe in your body, you're going to keep holding yourself back. So doing something as simple as EFT every day for 3 to 5 minutes is literally going to transform where you're at in your life and in your business. And if you use it as a business tool, you can use it in so many ways. You can use it for everything, even though I feel this resistance to creating this one piece of content right now, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I feel resistance in creating a podcast, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I feel resistance to showing up online, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And you do that tapping and it makes your body feel safe with those emotions and those feelings. And it gives you that level of acceptance, and then it moves it through so that there's no more stuck energy or trapped energy there anymore. And you can move through and do that thing that you want to do. So EFT is amazing. I'm going to be doing an EFT tapping for next week's video so that you guys can follow along with me and do this, do this on this topic, do this on giving yourself permission to be who you want to be and create the business that you want to be. So if there's anything coming up, tune into next week's video, guys, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an EFT tapping on just having the confidence to show up in your business as yourself and create what you want to create, which is going to be phenomenal. So it's going to be so good. The next tip that I want to give you guys, tip 3, and this is a phenomenal tip, and I think that it is such a useful tip, and it's kind of that thing of stepping into what it is or who it is you want to be. But I say this in a way where I don't want you to be bypassing your feelings or anything like that. It's not about that. It's about embodying the energy of who you actually want to be and how would they feel. So for example, if there's someone that you want to emulate in your podcast in terms of you like their success, you like how confident they are, you like what they're doing, you can really sit with that and think about what is it that they've created and how have they done it and how would that feel and what would a day in their life look like? What would creating a podcast look like? Close your eyes if you want to. I just did a minute ago as an example. Close your eyes, feel into it, and allow yourself to kind of feel into the identity of that successful entrepreneur that you want to emulate, okay? And when you're feeling into that identity, if that's something that you're striving to be, so say that identity is someone with 1 million followers on social media, what I want you to do is sit into the feelings of that. Obviously, if you need to do some journaling and some tapping and that sort of thing, that's totally fine too. But sit into the feelings of that and allow yourself to really settle into what it feels like to be in the energy of that level of success. And then I want you to create from there. Create as though you're that person. Would that person be afraid and would that hold them back? Or would that person be afraid and do it anyway? Would that person be sitting really afraid in their life? Or would that person be moving forward and taking chances? And this speaks to when you want to be someone new, you've got to let go of who you already are. You've got to let go of the old. And a great example of this can come down to who you are as a single person compared to who you are as a married person. And that it's the same person, but two different versions, okay? So the single version of you is very different to the married version of you or the version of you that's in a long-term relationship, okay? And this is the same thing that I'm talking about in terms of allowing yourself to evolve into the person that you want to be and stepping into the energy of what it is you want to hold. So if you're currently a person that has a minimal following, but you want to be a person that has 1 million people following you on social media and in your audience, then you want to really step into what it feels like to be the person who has those 1 million followers. You can't be that person and still have the same habits and be the same person you are right now, because vibrationally you're on a different level. You're doing different things, you have different habits, you're showing up differently, you're embodying a different energy. So what you want to do sometimes is really useful to really get clear on the energy of what it is you're trying to do and feel into what it feels like done and work from that place. Allow yourself to step into that place and create from there. Create from that new person, create from that level that you actually want to be at, and draw the vibration of everything you want in from that place, because it's from that place of that new identity that everything is going to flow. You're going to get the same results with the identity you currently have. So if you want to create new results, you want to be embodying the new identity. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to go overboard on this topic, guys. And I think that creating a new identity, I think I might need to do a video on that all on its own, because it's such a big, deep topic and there's so much I could say about it. But I really want you guys to just start to play with the idea of moving through the fear and creating a business that you actually love. Now, in this video, we've talked a lot about 3 different ways that you can move through things like fear and different emotions and different somatic responses to create a life and a business you love. We haven't really talked about why that's important, but obviously that is so important because we want to be someone who has a business that lights us up. We want to be someone who feels like we're in alignment with our purpose. We want to be someone who feels like we're changing lives and transforming the planet, We want to be someone who's passionate about what we're doing and who's showing up every day in their power and creating something that they feel truly inspired by. So doing these 3 things, it can really help you to step into who it is that you actually truly deeply want to be and want to embody. So that's why this work is so important. That's why it's important to move through the fear, because everything else is you holding yourself back from the highest expression of who you can be. And nothing would be sadder than getting to the end of your life and having regret over the things you didn't do. So learning to move through the fear and learning ways to show up as yourself in your truest embodiment is so, 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 so powerful. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video today. If you like it, please comment, say hi, send me a message, share it with friends. Everybody needs to know these sort of things. Everybody needs to know how to move through fear to create a life they love. So please share it with people, message me, say hi, follow me on social media, and I really look forward to seeing you guys again soon.